Hello, everybody. Hey. Oh, baby, let's make love tonight. Hey. Ooh, baby, I'm hot just like an oven, and I need some loving. Yeah, baby. Come on, Tamara. Hey, getting stronger and stronger. Yes, darlings. Sexual healing and pleasure goes together with womb health. Are you ready? Yes, that's how we're coming today. I am Tracy Bryan Swint, the womb minister, also known as the self-love guru, sexual empowerment coach, love connoisseur, and sacred yoni alchemist. And I am joined by the beautiful, beautiful goddess, our sister, the divine one, sexologist, Dr. Tamara Griffin. How are you, Tamara? How are you, Tamara? I can't hear you.
I am fantastic.
Turn it up. Turn your volume up. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Okay.
Oh
Did you get something online?
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I am well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Now we have like a double thing going on. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good. Okay. We can hear you, but you're low.
I can.
You're low. Okay.
I can hear
Yes.
you.
Good. Okay. We can hear you, but you're low.
Okay.
You're low. Okay. So
because when I put in my earphones, it seems like you can't hear me.
Okay. And now we have like double talk. Like we're going forward, and then we got one that's going behind. You hear it? Okay. And now we have like double talk. Like we're going forward, and then we got one that's going behind. Yeah. Hear it? Okay. We're gonna get it together, y'all.
Oh my gosh, that's so horrible.
Yes. I think that's coming from your speaker where I can hear you on the computer, and then it's coming from Facebook too because you're on Facebook. And you can't hear me just from the computer, correct?
You said it's coming from my speaker?
Yes, it's coming from you on Facebook. And you can't hear me just from the computer, correct?
I can hear you now just from the computer, but it's giving me that double feedback.
Yes.
So if I
okay,
turn
that's
down
better.
Facebook, then I can't hear you.
That's better. That's much better. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, but you're low.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, yes, come on, let's make it work. Okay, y'all gonna need to tune in because we got Dr. Tamara here, and so you can't hear me.
Okay, is that better?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, thank you everyone for being so patient with us. And as you know, we are coming to you live from Facebook, from Tracy Bryant, the Womb Ministers page, and we're going to be sharing sexual pleasure and womb health with Dr. Tamara Griffin. Hey, Tamara, how are you? How How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Good. We're doing well. So let's just jump right in. Okay. A lot of people
I'm
don't
fantastic.
understand.
You cannot hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Yes, I can. So we're going to jump right in because we got people who are lined up, who are waiting, who want to hear about this sacred, sensual, sexual topic, which is sexual pleasure and womb health. So we're going to help them understand or at least shed some light on how important it is to have sexual pleasure and how it is very much connected to the increasing of our womb health. Because as you know, a happy woman is a healthy woman, honey. Okay? So orgasms make you happy. They bring love and light to your body, and the pleasure
That's
is
right,
empowerment
indeed.
and it is medicine. So let's talk about how.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. So I'm going to ask you, Dr. Tamara, how is it that sex is it can how is it connected to womb health and healing?
Sex is energy, it's life, it's a creative life force, right? And so the healthier we are as the more healthy we are as sexual beings, the healthier our life is, right? And that's directly connected to, our womb. And so it's a very important that we have, a healthier womb.
We can't hear you. You went out on us.
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy because I can hear my. Oh my gosh, no, wait.
Let's keep
Wait,
it right on
I don't
rolling.
know
Let's
what's
go.
going on. So, okay, I was saying that it's very important to make sure that our womb is healthy, right? So that we can experience sexual pleasure anytime that we're experiencing any like female reproductive health conditions, like endometriosis, fibroid tumors, ovarian cysts. We're less likely to experience that pleasure because of that pain, right? Even if we're experiencing something like vaginismus or um, any type of vulvodynia, any type of pain, right, it's going to interfere with our sexual pleasure because we are not in the mood to have sex, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's very important that we, make sure that we are doing things to make sure that our womb is healthy. So that could be, utilizing the yoni eggs, doing a goddess yoni steam, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, becoming intimately acquainted, with our vulva, loving on her, taking care of her, treating her like she's sacred because she is, right, and making sure that we are definitely aware of all of the energies that we are allowing inside of us because that definitely makes a difference.
So you told us how important it is for womb health in order for us to increase in sexual pleasure. But how important is it for us to increase in our sexual pleasure for womb health? And we're gonna give her a few minutes, y'all. You know, she got a little delay over there.
How important is our sexual pleasure for womb health?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but our sexual pleasure is directly related to our womb health because
You know what? They just don't want this mess message to get out. But you
Whenever we
know what?
have, those
The devil is a
orgasm, it
lie.
helps to increase the different types of hormones. They don't. It must be so powerful.
Yes.
And it is so horrible on my end. I keep hearing all kind of crazy echoes and everything going on. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with this feed. Okay, and so
Come
I'm
on.
sorry, Tracy. What was the question again? This is horrible.
How important? Okay, you gave us an example of how womb health is important to sexual pleasure. But what we would like to know is how is sexual pleasure important to womb health? And how is that connected?
hmm Okay, sexual pleasure is connected to womb health because every time we have, an orgasm, right? We secrete hormones, in our body, which helps to relieve cramping, which helps to relieve all of those different ailments that we experience because of our menstrual cycle. Also, having sexual intercourse helps to increase our lubrication. Um, and it keeps us directly connected to our creative source, right? Which in turn helps us to be more creative, in life overall, which which manifests into um, helps us to manifest our destiny.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. So what I got out of that, for those of you who, Tamara, Dr. Tamara's having a little technical difficulties, but we still gonna push this message through, honey, because it's that important. So whatever I hear, I'm just gonna repeat to y'all. So what she said was that sexual pleasure is very important to womb health because as we release orgasms and have sexual pleasure, we are releasing hormones, and with those hormones, we create healthier bodies and healthier wombs as well as lubrication. And sexual intercourse helps us to become more creative so that we can fulfill our destiny. Right? High five. Great, great. All right. Now I want you to tell us a little bit about how you got into the business of sex and sexuality and all that good stuff.
I got into this business because I had a natural curiosity about sexuality. Because, growing up, we receive all these messages about how nasty, dirty, stigmatizing, shameful sex is, right? And I wanted to know exactly how nasty, stigmatizing, and dirty sex is, right? And what I found out is that sexuality is beautiful, it's amazing, it's who we are, it's how we were created, it's how we live, right? And again, it's our creative source. It connects us to the source. And also, because as a young girl growing up, not having not having a good experience seeing my mother being treated um, horribly by physicians who did not have cultural competency, seeing her
Mm,
going through these disempowering experiences because she was having female reproductive health disorders, I made it my mission to never let another woman experience the things that she experienced because,
yes,
back then, when a woman talked about having different female reproductive health conditions, they treated it like hysteria. But because my mother knew who she was as a woman and she was an advocate for herself, she continued until she found the care that she needed. And seeing that, like
yes,
as a 5 and 6 year old little girl, that did something to me. And I said, you know what? Nope, I will never let another woman experience these things. And then also just having my mother be that safe space where me and my girlfriends could come and talk about sexuality, not just the physical component of it, but the emotional and mental and spiritual component of it. Realizing that if my friends didn't have a place to go, how many other little girls didn't have that space to go and have that
Right.
conversation? And so I wanted to be that safe space where young women could come, or women just in general could come and have conversations about sexuality, especially women of color, because we know how sexuality is framed, in our community, especially given the historical and conceptual and ancestral framing of our sexuality here in this country.
Yes. Yes. Woo, you said a mouthful there, honey, because see, what us as Africans here in America don't realize is that our sexuality also has cultural conditioning attached to it and ancestral trauma. So let's talk a little bit about that and how that turns into womb trauma.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because of how we were conditioned from slavery, being chattel, being erotic capital. We have this disjointed, unhealthy, negative relationship with our sexuality and our men because of how they were treated and how they were conditioned about their sexuality, right? And so that translates into us having a disjointed relationship with our bodies, and even how we speak about our bodies, right? Like we say, it's down there. Well, what in the hell is down there? There's a lot of stuff down there, right? And
Yes,
so when we um, don't love our body and respect our body, we put ourselves at risk for sexually transmitted infections and HIV. And so, because of that, we don't tend to take care of our sexuality and our womb health as much as
yes,
we should. And then because of how society and our culture, right, tends to help us believe or wants us to believe that the woman's body or the woman's body is dirty and nasty, given all of the commercials about, douching and, that we should smell springtimey fresh, right? We feel like we should be doing all of these things to make ourselves smell like roses and
you better, you
blossoming
better
flowers and
teach.
all of these things, right? And because of that, we we develop this dirty, nasty belief about our bodies, and so that directly contributes to our womb health.
Indeed. Indeed. And going back to the cultural perspective of how we view sexuality, ancestrally speaking, we had so many sexual abuses attached to our lineage as a people that many times, many of us in our culture, it's
Oh
hard
yes.
for us to look at sex as pleasurable because of the
Hmm.
ancestral lineage and the pain that goes with being sexually free and looked at as a sexual object versus
Hmm.
a woman. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that has affected our womb and passed down through generations.
Yes. Yes. Yes, our sexuality was definitely stolen from us. And because of that, we don't understand how important it is to embody our sexuality, to be a sexual being, to be sexually free. Um, because of all of these layers and layers and layers that have been passed down from our ancestral lineage, to grandma, to mom, to me, and nobody broke that cycle. We just
Right.
created this culture of silence around sexuality and what it looks like to be a free sexual being, and to embrace that and to understand that we deserve pleasure, right? To understand that we should celebrate our sexuality because it's an innate a part of who we are.
So would you agree, Dr. Tamara, from my studies and what I've studied about womb health and womb conditions and diseases and dysfunctions and discomforts, what I understand about the Africans here in America, especially our sisters, a lot of the fibroids and the cysts and the womb abnormality, come
Mhm.
from a lot of it is in cancers, come from this ancestral trauma that has been passed down due to our sexuality and enslavement.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that because, again, anytime the body is being attacked, whether it's by stress, whether it's by some type of spiritual energy, any type of negative energy that's attacking the body, it creates dis-ease or what we call disease, right? And again, that could be in the form of, female reproductive health conditions, like you mentioned, the fibroids, the ovarian cyst, the endometriosis.
Yes, yes. And then historically, if you guys don't know, the actual so-called father of OB/GYN, obstetrician and women's health, here in the Americas, what they did historically in order to do research was they took Black women and used them for surgeries with the womb and hysterectomies and carving into
Oh
our
yeah.
ancestors, and with no pain medication whatsoever, because it was their
Mhm.
theory and belief that Black
Mhm.
women didn't have or endure pain like a human, because we weren't looked at
Yes.
as human.
Yes.
So that in itself has also caused trauma. One of the reasons why we probably
Mhm.
don't like to go to the doctor and the
Mhm.
hospital
You
when things are ailing us in that area is
absolutely.
due to some type of memory of that resonance of our women being, used as guinea
Yes.
pigs back during research. You want to talk to Tamara? You want to say something about that when it has to do with sexuality and women health?
Yes, you are absolutely 100% correct. We were, again, not only, right, was our sexuality stripped and stolen, but it was put on display, like you said, because we were not human. So anything that they wanted to do to us was absolutely okay. And you're correct. Those traumatic memories were passed down through our DNA. And
Yes.
because of that, we do have that disconnect and that mistrust of medical institutions. And then, even when you think about the Tuskegee experiment, black folks, particularly black folks, we do not trust governmental systems. We do not trust institutions. And that ties directly into how we take care of our bodies or how we don't
Healthcare.
take care of our
Yes.
bodies, because we're less likely to go to physicians because, again, physicians are not culturally competent. They don't demonstrate cultural humility. And because of that, many of us suffer in silence, right? Or we end up dying and have higher infant mortality rates because of
Oh,
that
yes.
governmental and institutional mistrust that has been passed down through our lineage, through our DNA, through our culture, through our race.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, as you will see, ladies, we are here with a beautiful Dr. Tamara Griffin.
And even
One,
political
sex.
mistrust.
Oh, oh, shoot, she's still talking, y'all. Yes, lots of political mistrust, and that's one of the reasons we don't go out and vote now. However, we are joined again by Dr. Tamara Griffin, sexologist, womb healthcare advocate, one of our beautiful Goddess Theme practitioners who is a Love My Womb
Right.
Academy alumni student who we adore. She is here with us, and our conversation piece today is sexual pleasure and womb health. And we've been going through some of the cultural and social conditionings and ancestral trauma that has affected the Black woman's womb. So here with Dr. Tamara Griffin, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about relationships with our men. And also coming from an ancestral point of view, during the time of enslavement, and I want to say this again, all of us wasn't enslaved. So let's create a conscious and medium with that. And we all just didn't start with slavery. That's not how our history began. So if you want to continue to do your research, you will find out that Black people's history did not start with enslavement. Okay, please do your research. However, that was a very traumatic experience during that timepiece, during that all over the diaspora. We had colonizations going on all over the earth. And particularly with Africans here in America, we did suffer a very big degree of womb and trauma, enslavement, sexual trauma, physical abuse, mental, emotional, spiritual abuse on all shapes, forms, and sizes. So with that, this is definitely connected to our womb, and it has definitely affected our relationships with our men. And speaking on the relationships with our men, they were also looked at as sexual objects. They were, given orders to go screw mothers, daughters, sisters, aunties, and sometimes brothers, just for the enjoyment of the fact of watching that type of sexual dysfunction, you know. So with that, it has definitely created a wound
Mhm.
among Black women and Black men.
Mhm.
And it's a wound that we both need to heal from separately,
Mhm.
in our circles together, and one to another. So, what me and my husband, and if you don't know who that is my husband, Dana Swint of Ancient World Gemstone Jewelry. Big ups to my husband. What we've come to understand is that as a people, in our relationships, what we are lacking is intimacy and commitment. And without intimacy, there can be no magical spiritual sex. Without commitment, there
Yes.
can be no magical spiritual reproduction and sexual pleasure for unity of the race or the culture. So with that, there is a direct dysfunction when it comes to Black male and female relations. And I want to speak a little bit about that with you, Dr. Tamara. What is that for you? And what are some things we can do to reconnect with our men so that we can help build our nation and create healthy, beautiful babies?
Mhm. Yes, you said a whole lot, Mama, Sister, Goddess Tracy, when you started to talk about the dysfunctions that occurred and the abuse, we're going to call it what it is, and the trauma
Abuse.
that
Yes.
occurred with Black folks during slavery. Um, and imagine, seeing your wife or your mother or your sister being sexually assaulted and you're not able to do anything about it. You know it's going on, but you are powerless to be able to do anything about it. And so what type of trauma does that cause for you as a man or a male? And what type of trauma does that cause you as a woman to know that your man, your partner is there, and they see it and they know what's going on, and they can't do anything about it while you understand it, logically, but emotionally, spiritually. Um, do 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 you embody that? Do you understand that, right? And that layer of trauma, right? And so because of these things, right, it created a disjointed relationship between the husband and the wife, or the partners, right? And because of that, it creates that lack of intimacy, because while I love you and I understand that, I'm still mad at you because you didn't
Yes.
protect me. But you
Protect me.
couldn't protect me. And so we're
Right.
going back and forth with all of these things, and then this is passed down, this lack of intimacy, this frustration, this anger, this pain, and this trauma is passed down, and it plays out today in these relationships that we have with our partners, right? And to heal that, we need to begin to have conversation. We
Mm.
need to forgive ourselves. We need to acknowledge the pain, the trauma, and the frustration that we experienced as a people. And we need to let it go. And we need to be able to support our men in their trauma, in their pain, and encourage, right?
Yes. Oh, just when it was getting oh so good. She's coming back, y'all. She's coming back.
And I mean that.
You
To
back.
be
All
able to
right.
be in that connection that we so desire as people.
Okay. So we didn't hear that last part, Dr. Tamara. Say that last part again for us. Can you hear me?
I was saying we need to, as women, create that space where our men can heal collectively as men, and individually, but also heal with us, and helping them to understand that emotions are the heart and the core of who they are, and it makes them human, and it creates that intimacy that we so desire.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, we do need to create safe and sacred space for our men. That is so vitally important. We need, as women, we must know that yes, our healing it is very essential to their healing. Very essential. They depend on us in a way that is beyond um, the norm. And reason being is because ultimately, as women, I know we don't like this part and saying, I ain't your mama. But ultimately, we are nurturing them as their mother, wife, goddess. Yes, we are. We feed them from our hearts, from our breast, just like we do our children. Okay? They are at peace when they are entering into our womb space.
Hmm.
So once again, we are constantly recreating a birth process with our men.
Hmm.
And we have to understand that, sisters. We are always creating a rebirth with our men. They come to us to get nourished,
Hmm.
to get rewarded, to get replenished. They come to us for that because we are fertile.
Yes.
And in our fertility, we can share that for them, just like we do with our children. And if we are in alignment with our correct role, and we are all in our feminine energy, we go to them and also get renourished. They give us their life force, and we take it and we multiply it 10 times or more. Yes, we do that as women. So understand, when you have a brother and he has allowed himself to be vulnerable in,
Hmm.
in in your space, in the space and place in which you have created for you in him. When he is vulnerable, and if he shares intimate childhood traumas with you, do not judge. If he cries to you, because most of our men are broken, sisters. If he cries to you, do not judge. You open your heart and your breast to him, and you allow him to lay there and get nourished, sisters. Because if he has chosen to choose you to be most vulnerable and intimate and share and cry with you, he thinks the world of you, beloved. Don't ever get it twisted. Okay? And that means at that moment, you have been given the task to help that brother heal. Now, I didn't say take on all his healing. That's not what I said. So you have to create some boundaries.
Yes,
But yes, it is necessary. It is very necessary. Anything you got to say to that, Dr. Tamara?
Yes. That's right. That is right. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we come into
I
communication?
wholeheartedly agree with you. But it's so unfortunate that many of us don't see it that way because, again, how we were conditioned
Right.
as society. And I think that we need to create more spaces like this so that we can understand this and help our men heal.
Yeah, see, the first thing we'll do when we see our brother, our husband coming to us in pain and crying, some of us will have compassion, but some of us will be looking at him like, man, buck up. What's wrong with you? Them tears and shit. We would automatically start judging him with a very patriarchal view, which says men are not supposed to feel. They are not supposed to express emotion. They are supposed to be strong at all times and always have a plan of action and know what to do. Some of our men don't know what to do. That's why they're coming to you. They want you to lead, and it's okay. It's okay to help them build his strength. That's what you're there for, sister. Now, if you just want one
Right.
that's just going to take charge and take all over and make sure everything's done and you sit back and do nothing, well, then no, you're going to be controlled at some point. And if that's okay with you, then so be it. But if you're
That's
looking for
right.
a team effort, you got to work with the brother. Because just like we need healing, they need it too. Because they're not given the space or the places to do it. And then their egos are attached because they're taught to be strong and not express emotion. How do you get through to
Mm,
someone who's taught not to express emotion?
yeah.
How do you do it?
That's right.
So I ask you, Dr. Tamara, how do we get back into communicating this very
Yes.
vital necessity as far as being vulnerable and transparent and sharing that intimacy? How do we begin communicating that so that we can have the fullness of sexual pleasure so that we both can be healed?
I think it starts by having spaces like this where we're bringing it to folks' attention that yes, you need to heal. You need to unpack your ish so that you can start to begin to experience all the things that you want to experience in life, whether it's sexual pleasure, whether it's manifesting your desires, whether it's whatever it is, right? It starts by acknowledging that we are broken in some capacity. We need to forgive it, and we need to find it, and we need to feel it, and we need to
Yes,
face it, and we need to finally say, F that. I take back control of my life, and I am ready to heal. I'm ready to be whole. I'm ready to experience pleasure because pleasure is my birthright.
yes, it is my inheritance. Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tamara. Now, tell us what you got going on. I know you got some books over there. You just got a new book called F that. Don't shrink, F that. Let's talk a little bit about don't shrink, F that, and what does all that mean?
F that actually grew out of my experience from being broken and realizing that I needed to unpack my issues, what I call it, if I needed to, if I wanted to experience life that I desired. And so, it started with me writing what's called a morning cup of F that, and that grew into Spirit saying, okay, um, you need to take this to a bigger platform and share your story of brokenness and healing with other people. And I was like, what, Spirit? And Spirit was like, yes, Tamara, you are going to write a book. And I was like, no, because by that point in my life, I had already written, I think, 4 books, right? And so I had said after I wrote my last book, I was never going to write another book again. I was done. But Spirit said, nope, I need to have you take this to another level. And because you're going to go to this other level, you're going to share your story with other people. And so that's kind of how F that was born.
Okay, and F that meaning what? Break it down.
F that stands for It's, it stands for find
Hey,
that, forgive that, face that, feel that, fancy that, and F that. And F does mean fuck that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to walking in your authenticity and being true to who you are, you have
yes,
to be able to say F that. No matter whether it's to family, friends, society,
better speech,
religion, culture,
better speech.
um, whatever it is that's preventing you from walking in your authenticity. You have to be able to say, you know what, this doesn't feel good to me. It's not who I am. And I need to be able to walk in my authenticity in order to manifest my desires, in order to, do what Spirit has put me here to do. And you have to be unapologetic about that.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So you do one-on-one personal sessions. You have master classes going on. Tell us what do you have going on and how can we get involved?
Absolutely. I do the one-on-one sex education and healing sessions because I find that a lot of people will like that one-on-one interaction, and we spend a lot of time really going back and get into the root cause because a lot of people think sex therapy is all about sexual intercourse, and it's not. Once you get to, like, somebody may present with an issue around sexuality, but once you get to the core of it, as we've seen today, it's so much deeper than I can't experience an orgasm or I can't sustain an erection. And it really goes back to what we said, some of those ancestral traumas, those DNA trauma, the historical trauma, all of these things that we haven't unpacked and forgiven and healed from. And so we do a lot of work really digging deep, doing what I call that soul work, not that surface work, but digging
Yes.
deep into the shadow of the souls. And then I do have master classes, which are more of a group online format in which we walk through, whether it's my book called I Am Sex, whether it's my book called Live Inspired, or whether it's the F That Don't Shrink book. We walk through that together and we do the group sessions, we unpack our ish, and then, we process it together.
Okay. So with your books, how can we get them? How can someone purchase your book?
Absolutely. All of my books and my classes are available on my website, which is www.drtamaragriffin.com, and that's DrTamaraGriffin.com. You can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, any social media format or platform you can find me, and I'm always available. I respond very quickly because I'm here to help you heal. I can't heal you. Hear that clearly. I cannot heal you, but I help to provide you with the tools that you need to facilitate your own healing. And I support you and I nurture you through the process because, at the end of the day, we have to heal our ish if we want to experience the life that we so desire and walk in our authenticity.
Yes. Okay, now Dr. Tamara, you just came to our Love My Womb Academy Goddess Theme Practitioners Training and Business course. Are you incorporating what you've learned through our academy with all of this juicy, sexy information and healing modalities you have going on? How did you incorporate the two? Let's talk a little bit about that and what Love My Womb Academy did for you.
Well, first of all, let me say anyone who's thinking about for anyone who's definitely thinking about taking the course through Love My Womb Academy, I would encourage you like 1000%. If you haven't seen my testimonial, I would encourage you to look at that because it was the best investment that I made in myself. And the tools and the skills that I learned there were for me first and foremost, but it helped to inform my work really just um, by really helping women to embrace their womb, helping to understand the creative life force that we possess as women, and that our womb is that creative center. And even if we don't physically have a womb anymore, it's still our creative, that the sacral chakra is still our creative life force. And we have to tap into that to really manifest who we are as women, who we are as creative beings, who we are as sexual beings. And so I have utilized those skills and tools that I've learned to empower women in a brand new way. And I'm continuing to learn. I'm continuing to study because the more I become, the more you become, the more we become. And I'm super excited to um, just move forward with the goddess steams, the fertility massages, the clay wraps, and abdominal stimulation. And every morning when I get up, I speak life into my womb.
Yes.
Stimulate my abdominal area. I said aerial
Mhm.
area, and just know that I am, and that's what Love My Womb Academy taught me.
Well, thank you. We're so honored to have you as one of our goddess theme practitioners, and you're doing an amazing work, goddess. We thank you so much. And we thank you for being here. Do you have any last words?
No, I just want to thank you, Mama Sister Goddess Tracy, for the work that you do in helping women to understand the importance of healing and reconnecting to their womb. And I will forever be indebted to you for what you helped instilled in me. And I just want to encourage you to continue to move forward. And like I've always told you, anything that I can do, I will always be there to support you because this conversation, this work, is so necessary. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And you always have my support. And I
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
this opportunity.
I appreciate you for that, Goddess. I really do, and I thank you for choosing us and allowing Spirit to guide you here with us. And thank you for trusting me and trusting the Spirit that works through me. So, because I have honored all of your ancestors through our work, and I want to tell you again that I honor you. So, Ashe, our men and our women. So, we want to go ahead and thank Eve Moorhead for being present. Hey, Treffica, how you doing? Lionel, thank you for being a part. Brooke, thank you for coming on and checking us out. We want to also thank and anyone
Ashe,
else
amen, our
that may have
woman.
came on that we didn't, recognize. I can only see so many comments at a time, but I'm looking at them here, and I want to thank you for being present. We honor you. So, Dr. Tamara, any last words?
No, I just want to encourage us to just heal our ish, and just heal, just heal it, whatever it is.
Just healing. Okay. Thank you again. You can find Dr. Tamara at drtamaragriffin.com. You can also find her on Facebook, Dr. Tamara Griffin. Thank you, Antoinette, for being here as well. Also, check us out, lovemywombacademy.com, and check out our free classes at lovemywombacademyonline.com. We have free classes, and we also have Yoni Steaming for Self-Care. There we have Herbal Yoni Detox Pearls class. We have a Fibroids No More class. We have a Goddess Gemstone Egg class. All certifiable class. We are certified. We are accredited and board certified through many, many different higher organizations, such as the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And we are a school that is a member of the American Herbalist Guild. So check us out. Also, our online classes, like I said, but we also have our retreat courses for Yoni Steaming for Self-Care and Goddess Steam Practitioners Training in Business course. Our next course is this weekend, which is the 9th through the 11th of November. And then we have December 14th through 16th. So don't miss that. We also have coming up for next year, our schedule will be out next week. So you can always go to lovemywombacademy.com and check out our schedule. Check us out next Wednesday for our Womb Wellness Wednesday live right here. Tracy Bryant Swint, the Womb Minister, 12 noon. And you will find me along with the Goddess Candace Smith Adewole, who is over the Blissfully Feminine. Yes, Blissfully Feminine. And we will be talking about becoming marriage material and what that means, and how dealing with your ish, as Dr. Tamara says, is how you going to prepare yourself to be some good man's wife. Okay? Now, let me tell you something about seeking a good man, y'all. If you full of mess, guess what you're going to attract? A hot damn mess. So we got to get our stuff together. So if you desire to be a good wife, to a good husband, and create and build with that man, we're going to give you some femme fatale ways to get your ish together and some self-care tools to prepare for that soulmate. Right here, 12 noon, Womb Wellness Wednesday at Tracy Bryan Swint, the Womb Minister, Facebook. Call me 337-944-9131, and you better get some of this. I'm telling y'all, this is some good stuff. All right. Thank you again for joining us. Peace and blessings, everyone. Mwah!